Good afternoon, everyone. It's 4 o'clock. This is the Water Bureau's regular meeting of Monday, September 29th, 2025. We'll call to order. Do we have any public comments related to agenda items?
Good afternoon, Chairman Adel, members of the Water Bureau, commissioners, and staff. My name is Joseph Shareko. I'm an attorney at Harris Beach, Merthyr Kalina, and I represent the town of Portland. And I wish to make some brief comments about agenda item number 5, which relates to the contract extension for the Town of Portland water supply agreement. As you know, District CEO Jellison recently has proposed 2 options for purposes of a new agreement between the town and the MDC, summarized as follows. Option number 1 is a 2-year extension for the 2026 and 2027 calendar years. The town increases its take-or-pay amount to 600,000 gallons per day, totaling 219 million gallons per year, and MDC maintains its existing safe yield maximum of 1.1 million gallons per day, totaling 401,500,000 gallons per year. Option 2, same 2-year extension for 2026 and 2027 calendar years. Town maintains its existing take-or-pay amount of 400,000 gallons per day, which totals 146 million gallons per year. MDC reduces its maximum safe yield to 700,000 gallons per day, totaling 255,500,000 gallons per calendar year. And MDC reduces its instantaneous flows to 694 gallons per minute, or a 1 MGD maximum flow rate. The town respectfully responds by submitting that neither of these options are feasible. There are numerous reasons which representatives from the town, and including myself, will perhaps detail today, but chief among them is that this could cost the Portland ratepayers in excess of $480,000 if the town were to entertain either of these options. So it's simply, the town cannot proceed with either of these proposals, and it wishes to stress, as it has been stressing throughout the meetings with staff this year, that the only feasible option is for the MDC and the town to execute a 2, perhaps 3 or 4-year contract extension, but we're starting with 2, whereby the parties maintain the existing terms and conditions that have been in place for over 30 years. And at that point, and I really wish to stress this, the town does not wish to cease its good faith contractual relationship with the MDC, and it plans indeed to negotiate something else at the end of this contract extension with the MDC. But at this time, given the unknowns, the variables connected with the near complete, however still ongoing project where the town is completing its well, it needs to maintain status quo. And I will also add that under the existing agreement, there's an incorporation of several state-issued regulatory permits, one of which has recently been renewed, and it is the water diversion permit issued by DEEP. And although more data may be necessary, the town believes that the proposed options, the 2 options proposed by CEO Jellison, may create an unnecessary conflict with those regulatory requirements. And so in the interest of avoiding regulatory conflict, of course, in the interest of avoiding unnecessary costs that might be incurred by both parties as a result of such conflict, and as a result, or in the interest of maintaining a good faith relationship with the MDC, the town's 30-plus year contractual partner, we submit that neither of the 2 options proposed by CEO Jellison are acceptable, and we wish to maintain the existing agreement for at least another 2 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tranco. Thank you. Anyone else? Go ahead, please.
Good morning, Mike, Portland, First Selectman from Portland. I just wanted to add a few things to what Joe said and put a little context into it as well. To understand where we're at right now, you have to understand a little bit of the history. We have a 30-year relationship with MDC, which has been good, I think, for both of us. We have had many changes over the last couple of years, but really until last year's referendum that Portland held, we didn't know exactly the direction we were. We were looking at wells, we were looking at water supply, but the town overwhelmingly voted to get our own water source and to have that be the primary driver of water in Portland. So based on that, I've been in office for 2 months after that until now, and I'm working hard to make sure that Portland gets this project done as quickly as possible. I know it's very inconvenient because it doesn't work around the contract that we have that ends in January. But we are working to make sure that we get this done as quick as possible. But one of the main reasons why we cannot give a decision or cannot agree to the two proposals is that there's too many unknowns. I think everyone at this table understands how long it takes to get something like this up and running. Everyone understands the complexity. And because we don't have all the information necessary, we cannot negotiate in good faith with so many unknowns. So we are asking that this board understand that. We're willing to work with you. We certainly see a long-term arrangement at the soonest possible time that we can, but that is not now. In fact, for example, we just finished a water test, a 7-day water test that looked really good as of this morning. So things are progressing. They're moving as quickly as we can. We want to see that done soon, but as the first selectman of town, it's my duty to do what's in the best interest of the town. This is what the town has chosen. I'm doing the best I can to execute that going forward. And again, we expect to see a long-term relationship ahead. In summary, again, everyone in this room has been in this business for a while, some shorter than others, but we all understand what's involved in getting this up and running. It is in the best interest of the town. We will work with you in the years ahead, but it's the only thing that we can do realistically going forward is to continue the existing plan that we have. And that plan is fair, and it addresses one of the big concerns that CEO Jellison has talked about over the 3 meetings that we've had, and that is financial continuity and understanding what the budget is. And by continuing the same one, he knows exactly what the budget will be. You can plan for what it's going to be like in the next couple of years, and I think that makes your job even easier because you've had a partner for 30 years in Portland, and you would understand exactly how to go forward with that. So that is our position, and I hope everyone understands that. And thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone on the phone? Okay, then. Independent consumer advocates' comments and questions relative to agenda items? Is the ICA on the phone, or?
I'm on the phone. I don't have any questions at this time. Thank you, though.
Okay, thank you. Approval of the meeting minutes of July 28th, 2025. Do I have a motion?
So move. Second.
We got a motion and a second. Any additions, corrections? Yes.
I have a comment. At the end of the last meeting, we were asked for a commissioner request for future agenda items, and it was about our commissioners invited to outreach meetings to put it on the agenda, and there's nothing on that in this evening's agenda.
Okay. Let's see if we can't get that then on the next agenda. Sorry about that, Peter. We'll get that done.
And if I can, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, please.
Is, I read about these meetings in the, the monthly reports. And to know that after it happens.
I hear you.
Okay?
Okay, thank you. Okay, so given that, we'll add that to the next meeting. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. Discussion and potential action regarding Town of Portland water agreement. Mr. Jellison.
Thank you. I would like to clarify one thing. I have mentioned in the board meetings, I also mentioned in a letter to Portland and to the board that we were, as part of this negotiation, the MDC was looking to be reimbursed for upgrades to the pump station that occurred, South Mill Pump Station, years ago. and the estimate was approximately $500,000. I did receive an email from Dave Banker today. We've been looking and researching, trying to identify the actual amount. We have the actual amount, but we found a document today that was dated August 29th, 2002. And that document explicitly says that, let me just see here, I'm going to read all the other improvements, mainly improvements to the South Mill Pump Station by agreement, which I don't have the agreement yet, but I have a letter that says there is an agreement, had to be funded by the district. So I did give a copy of this to the town of Portland. And we are looking for that agreement, but I just want to clarify for the record that at some point in 2002, it appears that the MDC agreed to do the upgrade to the pump station at its own expense. So I will leave that for, looking for that agreement and trying to clarify what happened in 2002. And then in terms of the proposal, as we proposed to the district, we have said that this is a wholesale agreement that is the first contract really to expire. There's other contracts that are still ongoing, but the logic of the multiple conversations we had at the board level and at the Water Bureau was that these wholesale agreements should be paying more than the traditional MDC customer or the MDC towns or even non-member towns. So the concern we have is it is obvious. I disagree completely technically with the town of Portland. I think they're making a big mistake. I've said that 1,000 times. But the extension of this contract is clearly an end of the contract. It's going to end. The town has approved a $1-point-something million and now a $6-point-something million project to build its own infrastructure. It is ending. And so what we would like to do is what we have proposed is part of the problem with these kinds of wholesale agreements, not just Portland, but Unionville, Collinsville, and others, Connecticut Water, Berlin, is that we're providing all this free water for safe yield and with no restitution. So it comes off of MDC's safe yield and there's no compensation. I've said this before, Connecticut Water bought safe yield compensation from Regional, a 10-year contract for $1 million. So that's a fact. And so we don't have a structure like that. We're providing up to 400,000 gallons a day, which is per our contract, take or pay. Whether they use 300,000 gallons a day or 250, they pay for. But they use up to 1.1. And they use up to 1.1, and we provide this data to the board and to Portland. I think it was less than 5 days, whatever the days were. So our position is when we have a contract that says your max day is 1.1, that comes off of our safe yield. So it's not just about Portland, it's about the contracts moving forward with the MDC in terms of wholesale agreements that we're giving up our safe yield for nothing. And so what we're proposing is, I think, very fair, is this is a 2-year contract. It's going to end. It might end in 2 years. It might end in 4 years, but it's going to end. And we would like to plan accordingly and sell that water that is coming off of our safe yield to someone else. We can't do that. The comments that were made today are correct, except the diversion permit is an agreement that is a 20-year agreement? 20 or 25. 25. But the excess sale is what really dictates. The excess sale of water agreement is directly related to the contract, and that's with DPH. The diversion permit is with DEEP. So when the contract ends, the excess sale of water agreement ends. And therefore, we do not have to provide and sell water to the town of Portland. We're not interested in hurting the town of Portland, but we're also interested in making sure that we protect the ability for us to sell that water. If the town of Portland is not using 1.1 million gallons a day, we can sell that water to somebody else. And so all we're simply saying is, and we've said for 6 meetings now, is that either take more water at the same rate. We're not asking you to pay more. We're simply saying take more water, and then we'll let you keep that 1.1, which is less than 5 days a year. And that's important to them, and I understand why. It's very important, and I get it. But we're compensated because we're getting more money. We make about $400,000 more in revenue, which is great. Great for that 400,000 gallons. $180,000 is about 1 cent. So it drops the rate for everybody by 2 cents, right? It's good for everybody. It's good for the town of Portland. It's good for every customer at the MDC. But if we don't do that, okay, well then keep your 400,000 gallons a day and reduce it down. Their average is in that they average about 600,000 gallons plus or minus a day, but they always, they have to take or pay. So they might hit 1.1 3-4 times a year, but they're averaging it down to make sure it hits 400,000. Last year, they actually didn't even get to 400,000, but they still have to pay 400,000. So we're saying, keep your 400,000 gallons and just let's reduce the max down to 7, and then we can sell that water to somebody else. It comes off of our safe yield, not because of diversion permit from DEEP, but because of excess sale agreement from DPH. So we're not asking for the town of Portland to pay anything more for their water. We believe they should be using more of our water because of the PFAS in their well, but that's it. That's a Portland issue. That's their decision. It's up to them. They can decide what they want to do for the welfare of the town. But we're simply asking, if this contract is ending, we need to move forward and figure out how to sell that water to somebody else, like the town of Manchester and others. And so that's what we have offered. That's what we have recommended. One of the two options, based on what email I received from Dave Banker, I'm cautious to recommend asking for $500,000 on the pump station when it sounds like there was some agreement in 2002. We will follow through with that and find out the details of that agreement, whatever that agreement says. But I would say that it's only fair to the MDC if we have a water customer that is leaving the MDC. It's definite. They are going. They just authorized over $8 million in spending in their town. We should be able to start to plan to sell out water to somebody else. And that's why we have these two proposals. We're open to any conversation the board has, Water Bureau and the full board, but that was our recommendation.
Questions? Go ahead, Commissioner Gale.
Yeah, thank you. Scott, as we sit here tonight, do we have the opportunity to sell any of that excess water that you would like to take back from Portland?
No. The agreements, the excess sale water agreements define, we have a safe yield of 75 point something, whatever that is, million gallons a day. And then all of our agreements subtract from that. And so this 1.1, it's not 400,000, it's 1.1 gets subtracted from that. So we cannot sell it.
What I'm looking at and what I'm thinking about is what is our loss of opportunity at this point? And where I'm thinking is if and mind you, it certainly strikes me that the town of Portland should have come to the table about 5 years ago as opposed to right at the end of the contract. So it's not as though I have any particular sympathy for the town of Portland here. But if we don't have a specific loss, is there any thought that we could structure something for the town of Portland that says, we're going to go out and try to sell this, and if we get a buyer for it, then you have to pay? You don't have to pay now, but if we find a buyer for that 500 gallons, whatever it is,
Yep.
that if Town of Manchester is ready, willing, and able to sign next year, and we can't deliver because we're doing it to you, then you've got to pay for the 1 year or 2 years that we're unable to pay to Manchester.
So if I may.
That's anything you've considered?
If
or-
I may, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
So, one of the challenges we've had, and I don't blame the town, I mean, they have had, really, since I've been dealing with this issue, 3 different administrations, at the town of Portland, right? 3 different, first select persons. And so more recently, 2, which we've been trying to negotiate this issue. So, I'm not blaming anybody, but the reality is, it's been very difficult to kind of come to, what do you want? Like, tell me what you want. I mean, is this a 5-year plan? Is it a 4-year plan? Is it a 3-year plan? Is it a 2-year plan? And it wasn't until our last meeting that we finally got from the town, we want 2 years of extensions, a 2-year contract, as is, with 2 1-year extensions, possibly. The question I have, and I present to the board is, and I really feel for the town, what happens if in 4 years, we're still questioning, they're not, how long do we go? Is this a 2-year thing? Is it a 4-year thing? Is it an 8-year thing? And the problem that I have is that, I don't believe, and I'm not a geologist, but I would tell you, knowing what we know about PFAS, when you have a PFAS contamination in your well, in your town, you drill another well, you might have clean results today, but you probably will have PFAS migrating into that well someday. So how long do we continue this agreement? That's why we bring it to the board. I mean, I tell you, to your question, do we have an opportunity to support the town? Yes, we do. Is there any immediate impact to the town, to the MDC? No. But how long do we continue this agreement in a form that doesn't allow the MDC to plan for the future, I guess, is my concern.
And so, and my thought is that we don't go any further than January 1. If they want an agreement to keep it as is, we could agree to keep it as is, but we also are very clear that we're going to go out and try to sell the water. And if we find a buyer, they have to pay or they get shut off. That would be a third option for the town. That would allow you to go talk to Manchester, talk to anybody else. And if they're willing to agree to it, and Portland's not yet ready to reduce, then Portland has to pay for the lost opportunity for the MDC.
Well, the last thing we want to do is shut the town of Portland off, right? That's not our goal. We've had that conversation with Portland. We've made it clear that the board decides what we do here. But that's not our goal. We're looking to negotiate in good faith. And I would tell you, we started this almost 2 years ago, so we did start this in good faith. And we haven't really gotten a good answer. And we're here tonight because we just recently got an answer from the town. So I would say to the board, we need to modify the way that we sell wholesale water. In my opinion, this was the opportunity to make those changes because Portland's contract is ending. We're giving away safe yield to people for nothing. And we invested, the MDC towns invested this money in this massive infrastructure to have this amazing safe yield, and others are benefiting for nothing. So if the board chooses to give that safe yield away for nothing, that's fine. But Connecticut Water paid Regional $1 million for 10 years for additional safe yield. We're not getting the bang for our buck for our other customers by giving away our safe yield to wholesale communities. Unionville contracts, still has number of 20 years at least. Collinsville, same thing. Berlin and Connecticut Water. The goal here was to set a policy, not just against the Portland agreement, but moving forward into future wholesale agreements. I don't think MDC should be investing the amount of money that we have to invest in our safe yield in our reservoirs and give it away for free. And that's really what this contract does. It gives safe yield to a community without having to pay for it. So that's up to the board.
Commissioner Daly, anything more from you?
No.
And then we'll go to Mr. Curry, and then we have Commissioner Salami's hands up.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't even know where to start. I've never had anyone come to me and come before a body and say, we can't negotiate in good faith. I understand it better now because your strategy, I believe now, was to wait to the last moment and say you can't negotiate in good faith because of all the unknowns. But if Portland is like almost all the municipalities in the state of Connecticut, your fiscal body approves a budget with so many unknowns because it happens before the state legislature approves their budget. So having all these unknowns is not an excuse for not negotiating in good faith. And well, I will tell you, I agree a little bit with what you say about the proposal that was placed before you because there's other considerations that I think we should make. And one of the issues is this is our first opportunity to set a standard that we can move forward with other municipalities like the Glastonburys and the Manchesters and several others that are interested in buying our water. And maybe some of these communities don't have a handle or a hold of any safe yield numbers. So we're just looking at the sale of water. Now, Portland buys our water at $3.91 a CCF and sells it to their ratepayers, their taxpayers, for $5.33 a CCF, or $1.42 per CCF profit, or 36-point-some% profit. You know, anybody out in the market would be really thrilled to have a return of 36%. So I don't think, well, I think that, and knowing that our majority of our revenue is generated from the sale of water, why are we going to continue to give it away to a municipality that's not a member municipality when we should be asking for some of that profit? Now, I would suggest that had we come to the table earlier, maybe we would say the first year, to give you time to catch your breath and negotiate future years, that there may be no increase. But future years, I believe there should be an increase in the cost of water. And I think we need to do this and consider it strongly because next week we may be talking to another municipality and the week after that another municipality. And if we can't do it now, those municipalities are going to say, oh no, give us the water for nothing too. No profit, just give it to us like you're doing to other municipalities that aren't member towns. And I think when we have an opportunity to stop that, I think we need to take it. Now, can we do a one-year contract and the first year is no increase and give you a whole year of knowing what's going to come on year 2, 3, 4, and 5, however many years the board determines that they would want to continue it. But there's other factors that I think we need to take into consideration to benefit the member towns without putting an undue burden on any other town that's not a member town. That's it.
Thank you. Commissioner Salami. Buddy, you gotta unmute.
Hello,
There you go, we can hear you now.
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry, did you call me? This is Commissioner Salami, did you?
Please, yeah, buddy, you're up.
Oh, okay, thank you. I'm sorry. I don't know if any other commissioners saw the newspaper article over this weekend about Manchester and declaring some sort of drought notice or alarm or whatever already in this season. So But my question about Portland and Manchester, for that matter, has always been the same. Why aren't you petitioning to become a member of the MDC? You can. You fulfill all the requirements. You have both water and sewer, and you're within the radius. So why wouldn't you become a member of the MDC? All of these issues would just go away. That's my question to the town of Portland, and I certainly can respect it. I was a commissioner when I was already a commissioner for 10 years when we signed the agreement with Portland, and I do remember it. Although I don't remember Joe Sergenko being there, I do remember it. And I think that it was. There was always a hope that that they would become a member of the MDC, and certainly, if there are other towns and towns as big as Manchester, with sewage treatment plants, a town of 60,000 people, sewage treatment plant, water supply, I mean, why they wouldn't be a member of the MDC is it's just beyond me. So anyway, that's my comment, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Gardo.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, through you, Mr. Chairman, what do we have in the total safe yield today with everything? How much is left over? How many gallons a day or CCFs or whatever? What is that number right now?
About 68 million gallons a day.
So, but you had 75, so 75.
Yeah, well, you subtract all these contracts, including Portland.
So
And
65
it's 68 or is it
68?
66?
75.1 minus 9.4.
Yeah, so 66, sorry, 66.
66. So we have 9 million gallons a day of safe yield that we could for another customer. And
Well, So just to clarify, so our safe yield is 66, and Portland's 1.1 is part of that reduction from 75 to 66.
Yep.
And so the question is, the investment in MDC's infrastructure to maintain that 75, should MDC be giving that free safe yield away?
I understand.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah.
So the town of Portland is breaking up with the MDC because
Correct.
they're building a tunnel, all right?
Right.
We're making this breakup hard, in my opinion, all right? And my opinion would be to do option 0, which is what we have today. We'll save time, their time, our time, attorney's fees, going back and forth, driving up from Portland to come to Hartford. We're looking for nickels and dimes in the couch right now, in my opinion, all right? So, I think I read in the letter from the first selectman about a 2-year with options for 2 more. And then it's done. I don't have a problem with that, all right? We're still selling them water, okay? And there's safe yield on top of that. I understand what Commissioner Gale was saying about, two-dimensional chess or something with if someone else comes along and then they have to pay and all that. That gets confusing. You got to keep things simple, Mr. Chairman, all right? And I totally understand where you're coming from, where the CEO is coming from in the staff with this, but we're making something that I think should be really easy difficult, all right? And government's good at that, all right? And we should be better than that, all right?
So can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir. Manchester
Manchester comes to the table next week and says their wells in Manchester, which is behind the JCPenney warehouse, their wells are rated for 2.4 million gallons. And they come to us and say, we need 2.4, but we don't want to pay for 2.4. So we're going to just ask to use, on an average, 1 million or something less. Are we going to say to Manchester, like Portland, that we're going to give you another 1.5 million gallons of our safe yield for free? That's my question. So this is not about Portland. This is about the future results of new negotiations with new customers. And if we say, I agree with everything you said, Commissioner, but if you look at the future, we will be having multiple municipalities coming to us asking for this kind of a deal with Portland. And we're going to give up our safe yield for free. We don't make a penny, not a penny. It's 400,000 gallons a day, and that's what they pay for. But they're getting 700,000 gallons a day for free. They don't pay for it. So if we do this with 4 or 5 in the next few years with all the PFAS, we're going to sell all of our safe yield for nothing. So that's my point. I agree with 100% what you said, except for the reality that we are giving our safe yield away for nothing.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
follow up. You know, I agree with setting new standards.
Yep.
But you don't set new standards with a person you're breaking up with.
Yep.
Okay? You do it for the next one, all right? Because you've done all the calculus, you know what you want to do in the future, okay? And I'm just saying, if Manchester comes in, or Avon, or whatever's within the radius of the state capital with 20 miles, all right? Do it then. This is, you know, we've had these folks in here before. They're at the last district board meeting. Do it in the next one. You've done the math here, okay? You understand what you want the next time around. And it should be a lot easier, okay? I understand safe yield, I understand where you want to go, but they're going away, all right? They're taking the dog, all right, and the tent, all right? That's fine, let them go. So I suggest option 0, which is what we have now, from 2 to 4 years. Or, yeah, 2 with
1 2-year extension.
yeah, with 1 2-year extensions. Oh, sorry, I dumped my coffee over. I'll pay for the floor cleaning.
Chair?
One second, Mr. Chairman. I had a question really about your second proposal, which was to reduce the safe yield. What is Portland's objection to reducing the number?
That's a good question. I mean, that's a great point. My point is, we offered the second option, which is, okay, status quo. Take your 400,000 gallons a day. You basically average about 600,000 gallons. Yeah, you do hit 1.1 once 3 times a year, 4 times a year. But 700,000 gallons is a fair number. So even if it was 800,000. So, and, you know, that's my concern is I don't think Portland really knows what they need yet, because they're in the middle of this exercise. And I think it prolongs MDC's engagement in this pilot that they're doing for their well. So I think the number 2 option is a fair option. It doesn't cost them a penny, doesn't cost them any more money. The status quo is the status quo. We're just fairly reducing the safe yield to a number that we provided these numbers to the town, I think to the full board, about what the average was. So we think option 2 is a good option for them at this stage. But
Commissioner Curry? I'm anxious to see what the results of the testing of the water of the new well, what those results are, and assuming that the only water tested is new well water, not diluted water. But, you know, we're not breaking up with Portland. We don't want to break up with Portland. You know, we're at a slugfest because we wanted to negotiate and continue to negotiate in good faith for a couple of years. And the other side, which is an unheard of statement, is, well, we can't negotiate in good faith. You know, we're at an impasse, and we need to set a benchmark for moving forward when we start negotiation with other towns. Commissioner Salemi mentioned, why not become a member town? Well, I think other towns don't want to become a member town because of the Clean Water Act cost. However, maybe this board can consider waiving those present costs to new members, but they would be responsible for any additional Clean Water Act, which would greatly enhance MDC and benefit the ratepayers, whether it be through water or ad valorem. So there's other things to look at, but to sit here and just say, it's easy, so just sign the document, that's not how we should do business. Sometimes it's hard.
Yeah, I'm certainly in the same camp with Commissioner Curry and Commissioner Gardo's analogy. We're not breaking up with Portland, Portland's breaking up with us. And it's like someone breaking up with you and saying, but, oh, could you fund my vacation to Puerto Rico as we had once planned? And can you also do next Christmas? So,
You can't speak.
I mean, I'm not opposed to some sort of compromise where
Whoever's standing at the podium cannot speak.
I think it's unfortunate for Portland. It clearly appears as though the towns had their own, the town itself hasn't been able to make a decision, so they haven't really been able to plan. And that's unfortunate, but that doesn't mean that there's no consequences to you not being able to get your act together as a community. I wouldn't be opposed to a status quo for a year, but then a phase in where you got to pay for the excess water. And to Scott's point, I don't think Portland knows. They're saying 2 years plus 2 years, but they could be back here 4 years from now saying, well, we're not ready, or something else has happened, and we should have in place at that point, to Commissioner Curry's point, we should have in place a fee structure for paying for that delta. Whether we phase it in or not, I could go either way on that.
If I may, Mr. Chair.
Yes, go ahead.
I just want to clarify. So this didn't happen over the last 2 years. I was in the town of Portland with Chris Stone, Susan Negrelli, and others in 2016, proposing for the town of Portland to become a member town. This board approved to spend $50,000 that we had a consultant analyze and recommended to the town of Portland that they become a member town. And the town decided against that, which is fine. But this isn't an accident. 2016, we've been talking about this issue and nothing's getting resolved. And our position is, you got to draw a line in the sand here, because the town of Manchester is going to come here with a couple of lawyers and say, hey, you guys are giving the town of Portland something you're not giving us. So what are you going to do then? You're going to say, well, we're going to have to give the Portland the same, Manchester the same deal we're giving Portland? We are, in the next 3 to 4 years, we will be having multiple communities come to this body looking to buy water because of PFAS. And this was the contract that would set the stage for those future contracts. If you agree to something for Portland that's contrary to this and it's status quo, you will have to give the same contracts to Manchester.
We have Commissioner Desai on the phone. Commissioner Desai, you have a point? You have a question?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, I think I agree with Commissioner Curry and others. I think decision has to be made. This has been going on for a long time. Coming at the end for a solution, I think it puts burden on MDC. All these things should have been negotiated, at least 6 months, a year ago. And in my opinion, MDC has given two options and they are appropriate options. I think number two is what I'm looking for. So I think decision has to be made, and so that we can use this for other municipalities. I mean, other municipalities may come and we have to be ready. So I think that's about it. Thank you.
Okay. Attorney Schrenko, normally I would not allow speakers to address the body at this point. I'm going to make it an exception for this situation because I would like to have the answer to option two and your objections to the reduction of the safe yield.
And thank you for that opportunity, Chairman Adel. I would hope that Mr. Tripp here, who's with me, could respond to that and in very brief fashion.
Very good.
All right. Good evening, Jim Tripp, Board of Selectmen, Town of Portland. The concern that we have with going with option two at this point is that, we've got a well that we've dug in the ground. It's right now showing very promising results, but we do know that there's a long way between here and there. And one of the things that Mr. Jellison has told us repeatedly in our conversations, because I was actually, I was back there when the conversations actually took place in 2017, 18, when we talked about it as well. But one of the things we've talked about recently, I think is clear, and I think is accurate, that is if we modify that diversion permit at this point in that fashion, and something were to happen with the well, something were to fall through, given the political environment about trying to get that diversion permit back, would be very difficult to do. So unwinding that before we've got a certain level of certainty about the well and the capability of the well, as well as the final test results, is a very difficult step to take. That could put our residents in harm's way. That's the concern with doing it at this time. Could I also have one more moment just to clarify one item that Commissioner Curry had brought up?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So I know that it appears on paper with what we pay to MDC for water that it does look like we run a profit. However, keep in mind that the costs, once we meet you at the Glastonbury line, we have to maintain the full system from them. So we pay our own employees, we maintain our own pipes, we fix our own water breaks, all of the rest of the system that we have to run. The rates that we charge this past year, we actually ran a slight deficit. We have been running over the previous couple of years a slight surplus. We had to put a little bit higher rates in place to do that because we had the increases that occurred from 17 to 20, that there was a little bit of a surge in pricing of water that occurred. And when that occurred, that put us into a deficit situation. And we needed to raise our rates to be responsible to do that. But I can guarantee you we are not making a 36% profit on the water we sell from MDC. Our goal is to break even. That's the way we set the rates to operate that system. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions? So, Scott, what do we got to accomplish?
Yeah,
today?
good question. So obviously, there's I truly feel for the town of Portland. I've said to the town of Portland, I mean this sincerely. I think the town of Portland is making a huge mistake in doing what they're doing, but it is what it is. I understand the fact that the town of Portland only has about 1,500 to 2,000 customers on the water side, but yet they have 68 to 7,000 taxpayers. So the majority of the town does not get water from the system. And so that's why they have a dilemma. And I get that. The town of Portland, East Hampton, Glastonbury, it's a common, East Granby, common scenario. We get it. All is we're suggesting, to be fair to our ratepayers, is we are looking to set a standard moving forward, and this was the contract to do it, so that when we have new contracts like Manchester and others, the plan for Manchester is to say, you want 2.4 million gallons, you're going to pay for 2.4 million gallons, take a pay. We're not going to give you this safe yield for free. We don't want to put ourselves in a position where we have a new contract with Portland, and then someone says, we have a bunch of lawyers, which I love, and they say, but you're not doing the same thing, uniform rate. You're not doing the same thing to Portland. So that's my concern. And I would be happy with the two options or something similar in the two options. I don't think the MDC should be hurting the town of Portland. I don't want to hurt the town of Portland. The first proposal doesn't hurt the town of Portland. Right now, we've documented the EPA results of their existing well. It identifies in EPA's website that the water quality sample is a mixed sample, which means they used MDC water and their well water to identify their PFAS levels. So that's great. I haven't heard anything contrary to that from Portland except verbally that that's not true, but that's what's reported. And so if that is true, I can see why they don't want option two, because they need MDC water to address the PFAS issue between now and them getting a new well. But why should MDC have to pay for that? Why is MDC supporting their, as I said, 2016, I was at, multiple meetings. The MDC board spent $50,000. Why is the MDC customers paying for and I apologize for the existing administration, but it's been 10 years to make this decision. Why should the MDC ratepayer have to pay for that lack of decision-making over the last 10 years? So I recommend one or two or something in a combination. I don't think we should be giving away our safe yield for free. I would be happy to say a 2-year extension, 400,000 gallons doesn't cost them a penny, raise to 7 to 8. Fine. It doesn't hurt them at all. But if they're using our water to lower the levels of PFAS they're distributing from their existing well, that is not our responsibility. And we shouldn't, our other customers shouldn't be paying for it.
Chris, do you have any input in here?
No, I think Chris Stone, District Council, it really is going to come down to what the town of Portland, how they want to proceed. They have our proposals. Scott's indicated a willingness to negotiate off those proposals if necessary. And maybe rather than making a decision tonight, maybe the more prudent thing to do in relatively short order is to create a group within this committee to meet with Portland directly and try to hammer something out. But coming up with a resolution tonight is almost impossible, because I see 4 different resolutions right now, and probably none of them will get a majority vote. But if you had the opportunity to meet with the 3 gentlemen from Portland and choose 3 of your commissioners, and obviously with Mr. Jellison and his staff, to get together and try to hammer something out, both sides have to give a little bit here. And your CEO has indicated a willingness to do so. The problem is, no offense, I've heard nothing from Portland as going anywhere but the status quo. And if that's the way they want to continue this, then maybe a meeting amongst a smaller group is fruitless. But they've got to indicate a willingness to move off their position in order to make any such smaller group meeting bear fruit. I haven't heard that yet. I'd like to hear that, whether they're willing to do that or not. And if they're not, then let's say it, and then we'll move forward.
Okay.
But I've got to hear that from Portland.
I like that. What's the consensus of the committee? Would they like to follow
Sounds reasonable.
our lawyer's advice on that?
No, come on, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
To some degree, I agree with our district council. But taking a small group of this committee and meeting with Portland, I'm assuming you're not saying without administration. You're saying as part of the negotiating team.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
But yes, I think Chris has hit the nail on the head in that, if they're not willing to come back to the table and do something
You know, for dinner.
and negotiate in good faith, then maybe we are done. But I would suggest we send everybody back to the table for negotiations and renegotiations, fair and honest and in good faith negotiations.
I'd like to propose we do have that small group. But I don't, obviously I would want the majority of people to believe that's true. Obviously we need participants as well. If you believe, we won't be able to make any further progress without suspending or something and allowing Scott to do some more negotiations alone, then that's fine too. But I do think it's probably a good idea. Commissioner Gale?
Well, what if we put something on the table, Mr. Chair? I'll make a motion to table this discussion and at the same time direct the chair to appoint no more than 3 members of this body to accompany the CEO and have discussions with the town of Portland, come back to us at the next meeting with in between now and the next meeting, come back and report to us at the next meeting.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Very good.
Second.
Any discussion? Mr. Curry?
It's not that I'm uncomfortable with this, but I understand negotiations, and I've negotiated for 3 decades with state bargaining units, municipal bargaining units, Board of Ed bargaining units. And I just want to say that this group of 3 or less should not be sitting at the table and having discussions. Presentations are made, discussions go between administration and Portland, and then you move back into executive session, if you want to call it that, but into a private consultation amongst yourselves to discuss it, and then come back and administration presents whatever you discussed in the private meeting. There's not open discussions between commissioners and the city of Portland.
Didn't I say
That's
that?
how it should
Didn't I
work.
say that in my motion that Commissioner Curry should be one of those 3 that should direct how the process goes?
If I may, Mr. Chair, I just want to say this, and I completely respect the town of Portland's position. I would have the same position. We have been working on this since 2016. So to say that in the next couple of months, I'm going to get any closer to what the town is asking for with 3 commissioners is unrealistic. The town is not willing, unless they say tonight, that they're willing to negotiate between what they have proposed and what we have offered. They have said on multiple occasions that they want to stick with the existing agreement. So I don't know how 2 months is going to address. Here's what's going to happen. We're going to be January 1st, the contract's ended, and we're going to have to make a decision. The board's going to have to make a decision. You're going to be, do you shut Portland off or not? Yes or no? You're already there. It's already October 1st. Not really, but close. So you're there. So the decision should be, are we going to agree to the 2 options or something similar, or agree to what Commissioner Gardeau has suggested, is to just continue with the contract as it is? It's that simple. We've been negotiating since 2016. We're not any closer than we were in 2016. I just think the board's going to put itself in a position of having to make a difficult decision, which the board is not going to want to have to shut off the town of Portland. That's not what we want to do. So we're going to be in January figuring this out again. We're looking for a direction from the board today of, do you want to follow an option like 1 or 2 or something similar or variant of that, or continue with what the town of Portland has proposed? I don't see us negotiating anything different than what the town is offering.
Commissioner Desai, you're on. You have a question?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you. Yeah, I agree with CEO. What we heard from Portland is that, you know, that there is no room for negotiation unless they tell us right now that they're open to negotiation. But, you know, my position is that it can't be too much far away from the options 1 or 2 that have been presented, based on all the analysis and things like that. So I think if they're going to move 10-15%, you know, maybe a little away from option 1 or 2, and that's it. That you know, I don't expect that could be 100% away from option 1 or 2. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead, Joe.
Thank you.
What is your, I mean,
Chairman Adel, I just want to make clear for the record, the town is willing to negotiate as proposed tonight. And frankly, I think it is the prudent thing to do in light of some of the facts that have been raised tonight, especially as it relates to the South Mill pump station. And in addition to the fact that we just did we finished our PFAS testing today, and those results are forthcoming. But as a general matter, the town is willing to discuss the 3 options in concept that have been proposed tonight, and maybe meeting somewhere in between.
okay,
So,
all right. All right, so we have any other questions, or should we take a vote? Go ahead,
Just
Commissioner
one
Curry.
question for Scott,
Yep.
if I may, through you, Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
Should we, as MDC, notify the appropriate state agencies that an impasse is in place, and while negotiations are continuing, be prepared?
Yeah, so 2 issues, we talked about 2 permits, right? So the diversion permit, which I agree, and I've said this 1,000 times to the town of Portland, diversion permit is a 25-year agreement. So that is not so much driving the safe yield issue. That's just the fact that we can divert water to the town of Portland, right? At the 1.1 million gallons. But the excess sale agreement with DPH does and will expire with the contract. So if we do nothing, in January 1st, the contract expires. So that contract is therefore expired, and therefore it doesn't come off of a safe yield. So it doesn't help us because we still don't have an agreement with Portland. But it is what's driving the safe yield issue is the excess sale water agreement with DPH, not the diversion permit. The diversion permit could stay forever, and the excess sale agreement could expire. But you know, so it is 2 different issues. The most pressing one is really the excess sale water agreement with DPH. But I think if, from what I heard tonight, which is really the first time I've heard Portland say they're willing to negotiate from where they were, that's great. It's a positive thing. Like I said, the last thing this board wants to do is to have to shut off a community of water. That's not what we're here for. But we're just trying to be fair to our customers and to the town of Portland as well. So that'd be great if they're willing to consider something in between.
Very good. Excellent. Well, looks like we're making progress. I would
Yes,
say.
definitely.
All right, so any other concerns, comments? In that case,
We have a motion that.
we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
John, when's the next water bureau meeting?
Next water bureau meeting is?
As soon as possible.
Oh, we could do a special.
January.
Yeah, you're gonna need a special meeting.
Tomorrow morning.
Okay.
There's a regular one in, I believe,
Matter of
October.
fact, right,
Yeah.
you go right next door.
2 months. So September, it'd be November, right?
Settle it and come
No,
back.
sorry, yeah, November
Yeah,
17th.
so that we need something sooner than that.
Yeah, we can
Yeah,
do that.
yeah.
Okay, we'll do that. All right, so we'll set that up. You guys will talk, all right?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. All right, thank you.
And I just want to say, we really appreciate the town of Portland. And this is not about the town of Portland. This is just about trying to set a precedent moving forward for future agreements like this. And we're not trying to hurt Portland at all, right? That's not what this is about.
We understand.
Thank you.
Okay.
And we appreciate your
Yes.
guys'
Thank you.
advising.
Thank you. You owe me $500,000.
Leave it on the desk on the way.
All right, item
Whatever's in
number
my pocket.
6. Discussion and potential action regarding the Tungus Club lease. Who would this be?
Oh, my gosh. Yeah,
If I can speak.
Yes, go right
I'll
ahead.
speak very briefly because this is, by the way, both the district clerk and myself, we've tried to get a hold of representative of the Tunkus Club to let them know that this was going to be on the agenda, not that any action would be taken, but that it would be on the agenda. The numbers we have are disconnected. We were unable to reach them, but we'll make a greater effort for the next meeting if that's at all possible. But the bottom line is we had a very long-term lease with the Tungus Club for property up in, is it Granby, Mass? Scott?
yeah, yes,
Up in Granby, Mass, several hundred acres that they.
thousands.
Thousands of acres that they lease from us, and they pay the taxes that would otherwise be due, and they get to use the property for hunting and fishing and recreating, et cetera. It's been a long and there's a benefit to NBC in terms of someone there to, monitor the property, make sure it's safe and all that stuff. But that being said, the agreement that was at one point 25 years old, we extended another 20, there were 5-year options, and lo and behold, back in November 2023, it expired. It has not been extended. So we want to bring it, obviously, to this board's attention. It's something we have to address, whether you want to renew that, start anew, so to speak. You can't renew it because it's expired, but if you want another lease with them, we can talk about that. We'll continue to reach out to them and try to get some response from them, but it's not something you're going to resolve tonight, but it's an issue that we're going to have to address sometime between now and January.
Okay.
So that's.
And if I may,
Yes,
I
please.
just want to add, so we're talking about roughly 2,000 acres of land, and they're leasing the majority of it, 80%, plus or minus. And our taxes on this property is about $28,000 a year, John, and they're only paying about half. So our position is, well, if you lease an 80%, and this is private property now, it's our public property, only they can hunt on it, it's not available to anybody but them, they should at least be paying 80% of the taxes, right? Not 50. And then the question for the board is, do you want to charge them more? Should it be more than just the taxes? So as Chris said, we're going to come back to you with some recommendations, but at the bare minimum, they should be paying at least the value of the taxes on the percentage of the land that they're occupying. And whether or not we decide to charge them in addition to that is up to the board.
One of the things that we did look at, because in Massachusetts, they have to, as a nonprofit entity, they have to publish their annual budgets online. So they certainly have sufficient reserves to pay more than what they're paying. So it's not a punishment to them.
Yeah.
There's more for them to contribute to our expenses. Forget about the profit part of it, but our expenses than what they're contributing now.
Gotcha. Okay. Yes, Commissioner Curry.
Or Scott, maybe you and I should take a ride up there dressed in camo.
We can do that. We can do that. We can do that.
Maybe we can.
We
reach out
definitely
to
can do that.
someone.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, seriously, you're leasing this property to someone, which is great. They're taking care of it. That's great. And they're doing a great job. Tom Tyler and Chris Levesque have said they're doing a great job taking care of the property. That's awesome. But no one else can use it but them. And they're not paying at least the percentage.
I want to be seen like Commissioner Hoffman. I want to wear the orange.
Okay, so gotta have the orange.
Commissioner
Okay.
Gardo.
Commissioner Garvelia, yes.
Yeah, so I saw this on the agenda last week, and I didn't know what Tungus Club was.
I thought it was the country club for a
Okay,
minute there.
and I was thinking of the Tungus Country Club in Farmington.
Yeah, me too.
I searched for the Tungus Club, there's a little pond up in Granville or Otis or where the heck it is.
Yep.
And it said on the map machine on the internet, it was a Tungus Club. If we have discussions like this in the future, you provided the background,
Yeah.
okay? And I've been here for 8 years.
Yeah.
I didn't even know about this,
Yeah.
okay? And so I didn't know what it was,
Yeah.
all right? And I think that there's nothing worse than hot paper, all right? This is a hot paper moment where in going back to the last district board meeting, there was a whole bunch of stuff and I had to leave because it was my daughter's birthday. I understand it was more hot paper, all right, that came up. And we need to have the ability to discuss these things with with a background, because if you go on the MDC website, which I did, and I searched for Tunc, I didn't find anything. All right, so, you know, for the ability to have meetings that are efficient, we need to have sometimes more stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, this is the start of a long process, and we'll get you.
Sounds like it's overdue.
Yes.
Oh, there's no question it's overdue.
Yeah.
It's 2 years overdue. No
Why don't
question.
we just let Portland slip like we do the Tungus Club, okay? And then we don't have to do jack, all right? Got to make things easy, all right?
We'll distribute to each of the board members a more detailed
good.
information on this.
Thank you. Good point. All right, number 7.
Mr. Chair?
Oh, yes, sorry.
This is a side with this, that I spoke with our clerk, Attorney Myrtle, and contracts, this is kind of a different contract, but not unlike a preventive maintenance contract. And I asked John about, you know, the setting up or putting in place a program where all contracts can be entered, and as they become due for renewal or consideration for renewal, you know, they pop up on somebody's screen.
Yeah.
So that we don't let this happen again.
That's a good point. I like that. Yep. And we should be certain that we have enough sufficient liability coverage for ourselves in the press and all of that. Okay. All right, number 7, summary of water main breaks. Who would that be?
Chris Levesque.
Chris?
Chris Levesque with the MDC. Just to report out, over the last 2 months since we left in July, we had 11, and this past August, 14. Just to highlight one that was an interesting find, and it was due to some of our leak detection technology that we deployed off of Lamplighter Lane in Newington. We found a leak in a right-of-way. Due to the technology, we were able to find it, open up that area, go and repair it. It was in the woods a little ways, but we were able to open up those easements. So just some of our ongoing effort to try to reduce these leaks on an annual basis.
Excellent. Good. So our numbers are still trending lower, higher because we're finding the leaks, higher because we're finding the leaks?
Yeah, well, yeah, we're finding them. We're addressing them, but at the end of the day, we're replacing water main. And our goal on the replacement is to maintain our system. It would cost a lot of money to really, really get ahead of ultimately potentially eliminating water mains on a significant level. So there's always a continuous balance of capital investment and then managing sort of your O&M.
Very good.
Yep.
Questions for Chris?
Debt service.
No one? Okay, thank you very much, Chris. And we have the water revenue next.
John Perugini, MDC. Just wanted to say that the water utility revenue is consistent with what it is for last year. And so it's trending around the same with the 64 last year versus 63.8 in this year. So
That's good. Questions? Okay, good.
Just in
Yes.
addition, as part of our budget, we'll be talking about, we're gonna project the same amount of consumption from last year to this year, to the 2026. So 18.3 is gonna be the number for CCFs, million CCFs. So we're pretty stable in that 18.3 million CCF.
I mean, we had pretty dry conditions this year, I noticed, because
Yeah.
my water bill was pretty high each month.
Yeah.
And I'm the only one seemingly on the whole street watering their front yard. I felt it was a bad idea as a commissioner not to water.
You have to water, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a mandate.
So we didn't really see a large increase in consumption, not a large, but
well,
a bump up or anything?
Yeah, I mean, it's a combination, right? So, and I'm gonna guess at the numbers, but we did see, and I mentioned this at the last year's meetings, we were seeing an increase in commercial. It was like 1.6 last year. What was the increase in commercial this year? It was a lot. It was like 16, 15%.
sounds about right.
So we're seeing more in the commercial side because of the residential build-out of commercial properties, which is positive for us. But you're seeing you know, residential, you're seeing a reduction. So it's a little bit of a balance, but it's been balancing out. We've been in pretty good shape in terms of our predictions for the last couple of years.
Excellent. Okay, very good. Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, opportunity for general public comments? No, you're good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And commissioner requests for consideration of future agenda items. We have one from last one from Commissioner Garda. We'll move to the next. Anyone else? Seeing none, we have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks for everybody.
Great.